The message arrived without warning. No signal alert. No translation delay. Every screen on Earth, government rooms, city towers, space stations, turned black at the same time. Then a symbol appeared. Cold. Sharp. Alien. The Galactic Dominion had finally spoken. A deep voice filled the air, heavy and calm, like it had said these words 1,000 times before. People of Earth, listen carefully. Across the planet, time seemed to stop. The voice continued. Your species has reached the edge of galactic space without permission. This is a violation. Human leaders gathered in silence. Soldiers stood still. Scientists stopped breathing. The message showed massive fleets floating above distant stars. Ships larger than cities. Weapons glowing with power Earth could barely understand. The voice spoke again. You are to kneel. You are to surrender control of your planet. You are to accept supervision. A pause followed. Then came the final line. You have 72 hours. Refusal will result in annihilation. The screens went dark. For a long moment, no one spoke. On Earth, people waited for panic. They expected shouting. They expected fear. But something unusual happened. There was silence. In a quiet room deep beneath the mountains, the World Council sat together. Old enemies. Old rivals. Nations that once threatened each other now shared the same table. A general broke the silence. So, he said slowly, they want us to kneel. No one answered. A woman at the end of the table, gray hair, calm eyes, leaned back in her chair. Interesting, she said. Another leader frowned. Interesting? They just threatened to erase us. She nodded. Yes, they did. She tapped the table once. And yet, they gave us time. That was when a scientist spoke. They studied us, he said. Enough to know we respond to fear. They think fear will break us. He paused. They don't understand what fear does to humans. In another place, far below an ocean, old machines began to wake up. Lights flickered on in silent halls not touched for centuries. On the moon, hidden doors cracked open. Signals moved quietly between places no alien had ever seen. Back at the council, a young officer finally asked the question no one wanted to ask. Do we have a chance? The room stayed quiet. Then someone laughed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't crazy. Just a short, tired laugh. The general looked up. Who was that? An old commander smiled. They think we forgot, he said. They think peace made us weak. He looked at the dark screen where the alien symbol had been. We didn't forget, he said softly. We just stopped showing it. Around the world, people waited for news. Some prayed. Some cried. Some prepared to run. But in secret, humans prepared something else. Old files were unlocked. Buried weapons were remembered. Plans written after ancient wars were read again. These plans had one simple rule. If Earth is ever cornered, do not beg. In space, far beyond Earth, alien commanders watched quietly. They expected chaos. They expected surrender messages, protests, division. Instead, nothing came. Hours passed. Then days. No response. No signals. An alien officer reported. The commander narrowed his eyes. Impossible, he said. They fear death. They are weak, another replied. They will kneel. Still, the silence continued. On Earth, the final hour arrived. Cameras turned on across the planet. A single human messenger appeared on every screen. No flag. No title. Just a person. The messenger looked straight ahead. The voice was calm. Human. This is Earth, the messenger said. Your message was received. Nothing more. The transmission ended. Across alien fleets, confusion spread. That's it? An officer asked. No surrender? The commander stared at the screen. No, he said slowly. No fear. From deep inside Earth, a signal moved outward. Not loud. Not fast. But steady. Old systems fully awakened. Human ships began to move. Not in panic, but in formation. And somewhere in the dark of space, something ancient noticed. Humanity had heard the order. And humanity had decided something else. This time, they would not kneel. The Galactic Dominion did not expect the silence. After their order, they waited for panic. They waited for many messages. They waited for surrender. Instead, Earth stayed quiet. Inside the Dominion command ship, bright screens showed thousands of stars. Massive fleets floated in perfect formation. Everything was under control. Or so they believed. A younger officer stepped forward. "Supreme Commander," he said carefully, "human history files are incomplete." The commander turned slowly. "Explain." "Some records were erased long ago. During the first expansion war." The room became tense. "That was classified," the commander said. "Yes," the officer replied, "but traces remain. Humans were different." The commander ordered the files opened. The screens changed. Old battle footage appeared. Primitive-looking human ships faced advanced alien fleets. Their weapons looked weak. Their armor looked thin. Yet the alien ships were burning. "How?" the commander asked. "They learn fast," the officer said. "Too fast." The screen showed humans retreating, then returning with changes. New tactics. New weapons made from damaged parts. "They studied our mistakes," the officer continued. "They copied our strengths and fixed our weaknesses." Another image appeared. Human soldiers fighting with broken limbs. Pilots flying ships that should not work anymore. "They didn't stop when they were losing," the officer said. "They became more dangerous." Back on Earth, far from alien eyes, a hidden base deep under the desert came fully alive. Old lights warmed cold steel. Robotic arms moved for the first time in centuries. A small group of humans entered the control room. Their faces were calm. "These systems were never meant for normal war," one engineer said. "They were meant for this," another answered. On the alien flagship, the commander watched more footage. "We tried to control humans once," the officer said. They agreed. They smiled. The footage showed humans kneeling before an ancient council. Then the next file played. Empty alien cities. Destroyed command centers. Human ships leaving without claiming territory. "They fought," the officer said, "not to rule, but to remove the threat." The commander's hands tightened. "Why was this erased?" he asked. "Because fear spread," the officer replied. Other species refused to stand against humans. They believed humans were unstoppable when cornered. Silence filled the room. "They don't act like conquerors," the officer added. "They act like survivors." Back on Earth, leaders met again. The 72 hours were almost over. "Do we wake everything?" one leader asked. A woman looked at the world map glowing before her. "Once we do," she said, "there is no return." A general nodded. They already crossed that line. Above Earth's moon, something ancient moved. Not fast, not loud, but powerful. Human ships, forgotten by history, drifted out of hidden shadows. They were not beautiful. They were built with one purpose: to endure. On the alien ship, an alarm sounded. "Unidentified human vessels detected," an officer shouted. The commander frowned. "Those designs are not in our database." "Because they are older than the database," another officer whispered. The commander leaned forward slowly. "They were hiding." "Yes," the officer said, "but not in fear." The footage ended with one last image. A human message recorded centuries ago. The commander read the translation aloud. "We were young once. We made mistakes. If you return to threaten us again, we will remember what we are." The commander's voice went quiet. "They remember," he said. Outside the viewport, human ships continued to rise. And for the first time in many cycles, the Galactic Dominion felt something unfamiliar. Unease. The kind that comes before disaster. Space around Earth changed quietly. No alarms. No rushing. Human ships did not rush into battle. They moved with patience. From old hangars on the moon, heavy doors fully opened. From hidden positions behind Earth's shadow, fleets slowly appeared. The ships looked strange. Their shapes were uneven. Armor plates were layered, not smooth. Some ships looked repaired many times. They were not built to impress. They were built to survive. Inside the Galactic Dominion's command ship, sensors went wild. Human fleet count rising, an officer reported. Numbers unknown. Designs inconsistent. The Supreme Commander watched silently. Are they attacking? He asked. No, the officer replied. They are organizing. That was strange. Most species attacked quickly or hid. Humans did neither. Instead, a signal spread through space. Not a weapon. Not a threat. Sound. Music reached the alien communication systems. Old human songs. Rough voices. Slow rhythm. Then laughter. Clear. Human laughter. Dominion officers stared at each other. Are they mocking us? One asked. Another shook his head. No fear wave in their signals. The commander felt something cold twist inside him. They are calming themselves, he said. Before fighting. On Earth, civilians watched the sky carefully. No screams. No chaos. Human fleets passed overhead in perfect silence. Pilots spoke to one another calmly. Check shields. Fuel steady. Stay close. No hero speeches. No promises. Just focus. In the human command ship, an old admiral looked at the star map. Once we start, he said, there is no clean victory. A young captain nodded. We already know. They shared a small smile. Out in space, alien fleets moved forward. Thousands of identical ships. Perfect armor. Perfect formations. They charged their main weapons. Human ships did not respond. Not yet. Another wave of sound moved out, closer this time. Human voices speaking jokes. Old war stories. Laughing about impossible odds. Alien translators struggled. Why are they amused? An officer shouted. They're about to die. The commander slammed his hand on the console. Fire a warning shot. One alien ship moved forward and released a single blast. The beam cut through space and burned open a human cruiser. The ship shattered. Silence followed. The alien officers smiled. See, one said. They break. Then the human fleets changed. They did not retreat. They did not charge. They spread. Small ships moved fast. Large ships slowed down. Suddenly, human weapons powered on. Not glowing. Not loud. Invisible. Alien sensors screamed. What is happening? An officer yelled. Space bent. An alien destroyer vanished. Not exploded. Not broken. Gone. Then another. And another. Jamming! Someone shouted. We're blind. Human ships used their broken ship parts as shields. Damaged cruisers activated self-pilots and drifted into alien fire paths. Explosions lit the darkness. The humans pressed forward. Not screaming. Not celebrating. Focused. On the human main ship, a signal came through. Laugh protocol complete, a tech said calmly. The admiral nodded. They're steady, he replied. Begin phase 2. Alien formations broke for the first time. Rigid lines collapsed. Human ships fought dirty. They hid behind debris. They cut engines mid-fight. They rammed when weapons failed. One alien officer screamed as sensors went dark again. They don't fight to survive, he shouted. They fight to finish. The commander realized too late. Humans were not angry. They were not desperate. They were prepared. A human frigate flew straight at the flagship. Weapons offline. Engines burning. Destroy it, the commander ordered. Hundreds of shots tore into it, but it kept coming. At the last second, it split open. Thousands of drones poured out. The flagship shook. The commander leaned back slowly. This was never a surrender scenario, he whispered. Outside, human fleets advanced deeper. Still laughing softly. Still talking. The galaxy watched in silence. The battle had just begun, and humanity was no longer hiding what it was. The Galactic Dominion was built on rules. Every battle had order. Every fleet moved in lines. Every weapon had permission levels. That system had ruled the galaxy for centuries. Against humans it began to break. Human ships did not fight in lines. They moved alone, then together, then alone again. Alien commanders tried to predict them. They failed. On the main Dominion flagship, alarm screamed without pause. Left flank collapsing. Communications lost with Sector 9. Enemy ships inside our formation. The Supreme Commander stood stiff. How did they get there? He demanded. They used debris for cover, an officer replied. They turned off their engines and drifted. That is dishonorable, another officer said. The commander did not answer. Nearby, an alien cruiser tried to pull back. A human ship followed it closely. The alien captain smiled. Destroy it. The human ship suddenly shut down. No shields. No weapons. It drifted helplessly. The alien captain ordered fire. When the first beam hit, the human ship exploded. But it was already too late. Hidden charges inside the wreckage detonated. The alien cruiser vanished in fire. Across the battlefield, humans used the same tricks. Ships pretended to die. Some actually died, to keep the trick working. Human commanders did not hesitate. They wrote off losses and moved forward. On one small human frigate, a pilot whispered quietly, "Thanks for the cover." He used the debris of a friendly ship to mask his approach and fired. Another alien destroyer broke apart. On the Dominion ship, fear started to spread. They don't care about losses, an officer said. They care about results, the commander answered. He watched live battle feeds. Human pilots worked calmly. No shouting. No prayer. Just action. In one region, humans released cargo containers into space. Alien scanners detected nothing dangerous. A commander ignored them. Moments later, the containers opened. Mines spread like seeds. Explosion after explosion followed. The alien commander hit the console in frustration. They are not following engagement laws. No, the Supreme Commander said quietly. They are following their own. Below the battlefield, a human officer watched calmly. Rules only matter when both sides respect them, he said. Another called out, enemy battleships retreating. They're scared, someone replied. For the first time, alien fleets pulled back without orders. Formations collapsed. Communication delays spread. In one desperate move, the Dominion deployed a shield wall. A massive energy barrier formed between fleets. That will stop them, an officer said. Human ships paused. Then something unexpected happened. Human engineers activated cutters. Tools meant for mining. Focus beams drilled slowly into the shield. Not fast. Not bright. Persistent. Alien officers laughed. It will take years, one said. The beam punched through seconds later. Silence followed. The Supreme Commander's expression changed. They adapt too fast, he whispered. Through the hole, human ships surged again. Close-range fights began. Humans fired short bursts. Aliens fired heavy volleys. Humans moved inside the firing arcs. Some rammed. Some boarded. Fighting turned personal. In a shattered alien command deck, human soldiers moved quickly. They did not hate. They did not boast. They disabled systems and moved on. Messages spread through the galaxy. Other species watched in horror and awe. The Dominion, the unbreakable power, was struggling. On Earth, the Council watched quietly. A woman folded her hands. They pushed us into a corner, she said. We stopped pretending. Back in space, the Supreme Commander finally gave a new order. Fall back. Regroup. Immediate. No one argued. The great Dominion fleets retreated in disorder. Human ships did not chase. They simply stood there, waiting. The message was clear. Humans were no longer playing by old rules. And the galaxy understood something dangerous had changed. The battlefield grew quiet. Not peaceful. Just quiet. Wreckage drifted slowly through space. Broken ships. Frozen lights. Human fleets stayed where they were. They did not chase the retreating Dominion ships. They did not celebrate. They waited. On the Dominion flagship, panic spread under forced control. Damage reports coming in, an officer said. Losses exceed projections. The Supreme Commander stared at the holomap. The humans did not pursue, he said slowly. They are regrouping, another officer replied. We should strike again now. No, the commander said quietly. They want us to think. A signal notification appeared. Human transmission incoming. The bridge went silent. The commander gestured. Play it. The image showed a plain human room. No symbols. No weapons. A human representative stood calmly. We will say this once, the human said. You demanded that we kneel. The camera stayed steady. Humans kneel for many reasons. We kneel to help our injured. We kneel to build, to fix, to learn. A pause. But we do not kneel to those who threaten our existence. The transmission ended. On Earth, people watched in quiet pride. In hidden places, more systems powered up. On the human command ship, a general looked at his officers. They still assume kneeling means weakness, he said. They never learned why we bend our knees. Elsewhere, an alien scout ship drifted powerless. Human boarding crews moved inside carefully. They did not fire unless forced. Alien officers were captured alive. On Earth, the council met again. A young voice spoke. Are we really going all the way? An older leader answered. They started this thinking we would surrender. She looked at the display of alien fleets. We finish it so no one ever asks again. A captured Dominion officer sat in a human holding room. Human guards stood quietly. No chains. No cruelty. The alien officer looked confused. You are winning, he said. Why stop to capture us? A human replied calmly. Because war is not rage, he said. It is responsibility. The alien officer lowered his eyes. On the Dominion flagship, tension rose. Other species were watching now. Messages from across the galaxy arrived. Dominion authority questioned. Member systems expressing concern. Allied fleets hesitating. The Supreme Commander clenched his hands. They are turning the galaxy against us, he said. A senior officer spoke. They are not demanding obedience, she said. They are showing restraint. That frightened them more than anger. Human fleets finally moved again. Not forward. Sideways. They blocked key lanes. Trade routes closed. Supply lines vanished. Without firing a shot, pressure spread. Dominion systems began to fail. On Earth's moon, another hidden facility opened. Old records unlocked. The truth was revealed to human commanders. Plans were reviewed one final time. A single message appeared on human screens. Final phase authorization ready. The general took a steady breath. We kneel only when we choose to stand stronger, he said. The human fleets turned toward the heart of Dominion space. This was no longer a defense. It was an answer. Far away, the Supreme Commander felt it. They are coming, he said. For what? An officer asked. The commander looked at the star map. For the lesson we tried to bury, he replied. Around the galaxy, species leaned forward in silence. The age of forced kneeling was ending. And the final truth became clear. Humanity had not stood up in anger. Humanity had stood up in memory. The stars near Dominion space went dark, not because they vanished, but because something larger filled the sky. Human fleets arrived. Not rushing. Not hiding. They came in silence. The Galactic Dominion gathered everything it had left. Warships covered entire sectors. Capital ships formed thick defensive lines. Planet-killer weapons charged slowly, lighting space with cold energy. On the Supreme Commander's bridge, voices overlapped with worry. Enemy fleets entering final defense zone. How many? More than expected. That was becoming normal. The commander stared ahead. This is where we end them, he said. They cannot break through this wall. Human fleets halted at long range. They did not fire. Seconds passed. Minutes. Alien gunners grew restless. Why do they wait? One officer asked. The commander did not answer. On the human flagship, commanders watched calmly. All units ready, a voice reported. Begin, the admiral said. Human fleets moved. Not forward, but apart. Lines broke. Ships spread in every direction. Aliens laughed. They lost control, an officer said. Then space ripped open. Human ships activated devices never used before. Small tears formed in space itself. Not jumps. Not weapons. Passages. Human ships flowed through them. Bridge screens overloaded. They are behind us. They are inside our formation. Confusion exploded. Alien ships turned, crashed into one another, and lost firing lines. Human ships struck supply vessels first. Fuel stations burned. Command ships went blind. Weapon arrays shut down. Defensive fire. Full power, the commander roared. Planet-killer weapons fired. Human fleets did not dodge. Some ships were lost. Others pushed through the fire. They closed distance. The fighting turned brutal. Close range. Short bursts. Ramming maneuvers. Human ships latched onto alien hulls and tore systems apart. Inside the chaos, Dominion discipline collapsed. Officers shouted contradictory orders. Human pilots spoke calmly. Target locked. Firing. Moving. A massive alien dreadnought charged its main cannon. A human cruiser flew straight toward it. This is suicide, an alien officer whispered. The human ship did not slow. At the last moment, it split into sections and released boarding pods. They struck the dreadnought like rain. The cannon never fired. On the Supreme Commander's bridge, the star map collapsed into red. Sectors lost, an officer said. Command chain broken. The commander's voice grew quiet. They planned this, he whispered. They studied how we think. The final human signal played across all channels. A simple message. We warned you. At that moment, Dominion core defenses failed. Human fleets surged forward one last time. Not angry. Not celebrating. Purposeful. The Supreme Commander stood still as warning lights filled the bridge. So this is how it ends, he said. Outside, the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever known burned. Human ships pulled back when the last resistance ended. They did not destroy planets. They did not take territory. They turned away. Silence returned to space. The final battle was over, and the galactic dominion was finished. The universe felt different after the war. Not louder. Not brighter. Quieter. The wreckage of the galactic dominion drifted slowly through space. Great ships that once ruled star systems now floated as silent shadows. No weapons fired. No orders echoed. The war was over. Human fleets did not move forward. They did not chase survivors. They turned back. Across the galaxy, other species watched carefully. They waited for revenge. They waited for conquest. It did not come. On Earth, people stood under open skies. Cities glowed with calm lights. There were no victory parades. No loud celebrations. Only relief. In a quiet room, the World Council met one last time. Our enemy is broken, one leader said. What comes next? A woman looked at the stars on the screen. We rebuild, she said. And we remember. Human ships escorted damaged alien vessels back to safe space. Medical teams treated enemy wounded without questions. Alien survivors were confused. This is mercy, one asked. A human officer answered simply. This is restraint. Word spread quickly. Humanity did not rule. Humanity did not punish. Humanity set a line. In the former Dominion systems, governments collapsed. Forced orders ended. Controlled worlds found freedom for the first time in ages. Messages arrived from racing worlds. Some thanked Earth. Some feared it. Some asked for protection. Human leaders responded with the same message every time. We will stand with you. We will not stand over you. On Earth's moon, the old facilities returned to sleep. Weapons powered down. Ships went back into shadow. They were not destroyed. They were remembered. In a distant system, a young alien watched recorded footage of human fleets. They laughed, he said quietly. In battle. His teacher nodded. Laughter is how they face fear, she replied. And how they warn others. Back on Earth, a monument was built. Not of a general. Not of a ship. It showed human hands reaching down, helping someone to stand. The words beneath it were simple. We do not kneel to threats. Years passed. Trade returned. Exploration resumed. Old empires faded into stories. But one rule stayed strong across the galaxy. Never corner humans. Never demand their surrender. Because humans kneel only to rise again. Stronger. In the deep dark between stars, something watched Earth. It turned away. The message was clear. Humanity was not the ruler of the galaxy, but it was the guardian line. And no one would cross it again.